What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Lightning Snow back today with another video. Today I brought back the Sage to the channel. Go ahead and say hey, everybody.
What's going on, guys? Always a pleasure to be on here, dude. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So today I got the Battle of the Favorites. I've been doing a lot of Battle of the Favorites lately, and today I thought it'd be a great idea to have some of the most experienced, well-known prodigies throughout the entire Shinobi world. Kakashi Hatake versus Minato Namikaze. Both prodigies went on to be Hokage. So today, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of stack them up against each other to see who comes out on top more throughout the timeline. So to not be pedantic about it, setting is going to be like out in the field, out in the leaf village or something like that. Just kind of make it more simple. And to also not be pedantic about picky on the timeline, we're gonna go along. We're gonna explain how long, as we go along the video, which Kakashi versus which Minato. And so knowledge, we're going to do it chronologically in the chronological order. So we'll explain again as we go along the video. Sage, you got anything to say before we start recording?
No, I'm just super stoked to hop on here with you, man. If you guys are not subbed to him yet, make sure to sub. Let's run those numbers up. But yeah, let's get into the video, dude.
Awesome. So right now we're going to cover Kid Kakashi versus Kid Minato. The Kakashi we're using is going to be the one that, right before the Higeru on the Anbu. So he has his 3 Tomoe Sharingan, Jonin level, the Raikiri, all that good stuff. The Minato we're going to use is the Minato from the one-shot, just to kind of make it more specific. So, because before this, let's be honest, if we hadn't got the one-shot manga, we wouldn't have Jack. So now that we have the one-shot manga, we have a little more feats to go off of. So this is a pretty good one. They're both, experienced at their age, especially for their age. They were a super experienced Jonin, already getting a good reputation in the village. And the thing is, though, is this one would be tough. This would be like Sasuke versus Neji, and that you to give a perspective on it. Both characters are super fast, have pretty good reaction speed going for them. Have the Rasengan and the Chidori, and so I don't know. At first, I feel like it'd be a toss-up. Sage, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's closer than people think, and this Kakashi. People argue about his age. I have a short on that if you guys want to check that out. So he's pretty young here, but again, he's Jonin level. Obviously, Minato is Jonin level or above. He's already got the Flying Raijin. He's developing the Rasengan, or has already developed it, depending on where you want to go on that. And then, of course, Kakashi has the Raikiri. So they're both incredibly talented. 2 of the smartest characters in the series. But the problem is the FTG is an issue. And, for me, I mean, obviously, it seems at that point in time, he doesn't necessarily have it as combat effective as what he has later on. He kind of, whenever he teleports himself and Team Jiraiya with him away from the Bijou bombs, it's sort of it looks like it kind of takes a little bit of charge-up time. It looks much more similar to how Boruto does it in this latest chapter, as opposed to what we see from him in his fights later on. But if he's able to use that FTG at even the level that we see against A and B in the flashback whenever A's talking about him, then it's not close. If it is sort of more of a basic usage, then it is a pretty close fight, I think. But what do you think, man? Because it's tough because we don't have a ton of information on them at this point in time. I do think that the Raikiri could be an issue. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so as far as they clash Rasengan to Raikiri, it's going to do exactly what Naruto and Sasuke did in base. It's going to cancel out pretty much. But I honestly would probably give this one to Minato just more often than that, because he was able to go toe-to-toe with Han. I mean, the fight kind of was a stalemate sort of, but still, just the fact that this Minato was able to contend with them, even though he had backup, it's mind-boggling. I mean, I'm not gonna say that Kakashi at this age wouldn't perform well against them, but I don't know. I feel a little bit uncomfortable with myself if I said that he probably does as well as Minato does. But not only that, and this statement I'm gonna say, you can take it with a grain of salt if you want. I kind of am myself, but it's a feat we can use. This was an astral projection, but Minato was giving the Nine Tails a pretty good hard time in the astral projection plane, or whatever you want to call it. That little,
he should be weaker there too.
Yeah. So
because whenever B is talking to Naruto, whenever he's in his astral plane, he says that he's weaker in that space than what he normally is, so we can't help him as much. So not only does Minato have Nine Tails chakra coursing through his veins, which acts like a poison, He's also got a massive hole in his chest, and he should be weaker in that plane. So, like, I know a lot of people talk about how Kurama was nerfed there and, like, the Bijou Bomb's not very big, but you could argue it both ways, like, that they both have potentially equal nerfs, and if they do, then his Rasengan might be, like, Bijou Bomb level, which is crazy. I know a lot of people don't ascribe to that, but, like, it's a possible interpretation of that. So it's, if they do clash with the Rasengan and, you know, Raikiri, it might be a situation where Kakashi gets his arm blown.
Well,
so it's like, yeah, it's just tough. It's tough.
Well, I mean, we kind of saw that from the Naruto and Sasuke fight on the rooftop, where like it was pretty much implied that had they kept going, like Naruto would have like completely one shot Chidori. So so we can go with that. So in conclusion, I'd say that this Minato probably wins more often than not. Scaling wise, I'd probably give it to Minato 6 to 7 out of 10. I think it's super close, but I think Minato does take this one, you know, more often.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate, like 6 to 7 out of 10 times. I do think if you want to be generous to Kakashi, there is a statement that says that Chidori gives them an order of magnitude amp in speed and power, so like he gets 10 times faster than his base, which is crazy, but I just don't know if that's enough to deal with somebody who can teleport. So yeah, I think that's right, 6 to 7 out of 10 times probably. Yeah,
so now we're going to go on to Anbu Kakashi versus Joe. So this one, I think it's a little more cut and dry, because at this point, like, knowledge, like, you know, Kakashi's going to have knowledge on Minato's abilities. Like, he already knows he's a sensei after all, and conversely, Minato's going to still have knowledge on Kakashi's abilities, still has the Sharingan, the Lightning Blade, all that. Maybe, like, a few extra jutsu that Minato doesn't know, because he started growing his reputation as the copy ninja throughout the Anbu era, so... But other than that, like, they're gonna know pretty much everything else about each other. And this one, I gotta be honest with you, like, I just don't, now, like, that Minato's a lot more proficient with Flying Thunder God, like, it's just, there's not gonna be much that Kakashi can do. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Kakashi gets stomped, but, because I do think he can perform pretty well, but this is Minato, like,
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, Jonin Minato and Hokage Minato aren't, like, there's a discrepancy for sure, but if we're being honest, that there's not that much discrepancy, at least not in my opinion. So I think that this Minato still, I mean, handles Kakashi relatively well. But I feel like I'm fumbling my words. Like, I don't want to dismiss Kakashi, because he's like one of my favorite versions of Kakashi. But because he does perform pretty well in the Anbu era, as far as like stamina wise. So, but yeah, I would say, I think that you go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I think, well, first of all, these characters should be about the same age. We know that Kakashi was in the Anbu at least from the time he was 12 till 20. So if we want to say this is like a 20-ish-year-old Kakashi and then like a 20-ish-year-old Jonin Minato, it's sort of kind of a good place to compare them at. But this version of Kakashi, you know, in the Data Book 3 Anbu section, it talks about how he gained his legend for cutting a lightning bolt in the Anbu. So, and that should be the visible upstroke, which is 1/3 the speed of light. So, like, with the Raikiri, he's super fast, you know, he's 1/3 speed of light. But again, Minato is able to teleport and do it really proficiently at this point in time. And we see that he, like, back pockets handfuls of kunai that he just chucks around the battlefield.
Yeah.
So, like, in character, they would go to square off. Minato would just, like, back pocket, pull out 50 kunai, toss them around. And then no matter what Kakashi did, you know, even if we assume that the Storm Revolution or Generations, whichever one is canon, even if we assume that game stuff, like, is totally thrown out and Kakashi doesn't have a marking on him, which he might, then Minato should just be able to, like, dance around the battlefield and allow Kakashi to exhaust himself, because even though his stamina is better in the Anbu than what it was, like, in Part 1, and I personally, I don't know how you feel, but I believe that Anbu Kakashi is probably stronger than Part 1 Kakashi.
Yes.
Probably more comparable to, like, Shippuden. Yeah. Even though that's probably the case, it doesn't really matter because Minato's a chakra monster. So
yeah, I mean, we hardly ever see Minato tire out. Like, we hardly ever see Minato tire out in terms of chakra. Like, so, like, yeah, and like so the inconsistency with the performance between Anbu and Kakashi to Part 1, I'm not going to go there. It's a headcanon-y thing that I don't want to get into, but yeah, I agree with you. And to be honest with you, like, I know Kakashi has a Sharingan, so his perception better than what it was in that game. But let's be honest, like, Minato I say this all the time. At some point, Minato's almost able to mark every single opponent that he has. Like,
yeah.
So this Kakashi shouldn't really be an exception. Like, yes, he's faster, he's got better reaction time, but I think this Minato still has the advantage to get a chakra mark on not chakra mark, but a Flying God, Thunder God mark on Kakashi. Little to no trouble.
He did it against Obito, who has a Sharingan and was about the same age as like what they would be in this matchup too. So like, yeah, I don't think that there's any argument for him not being able to place a marking on him.
Yeah. So with this one, I give Jonin Minato about a 7 to 8, or maybe 9 out of 10. I gotta be honest with you. I think 8 or 9.
Yeah. Especially with the knowledge they have of each other. It's just I love Kakashi, and he could probably like push him, but there's just I don't see a way that he I don't see a way that he like beats him consistently. So yeah, totally 8 or 9 out of 10 for sure.
All right, so now we'll go on to Jonin Minato versus War Art Kakashi. Initially, I wasn't going to do this for the sake of time, but we'll cover it real quick. And again, this is just all War Art Kakashi, not DMS. There's one Sharingan, his normal reserve chakra, knowledge. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, they're going to have knowledge of each other's abilities. The only thing that Minato won't have knowledge on is Kamui. If we're doing this chronologically, he will not have any exposure to Kamui yet from Obito, so therefore he would not know what it is or how it works. He probably would pick up on it the same way he did against Obito relatively quickly, because he did figure out how it works.
Oh yeah,
it's a different version of Kamui, granted, but I still think like now it's all depending on if by the time Minato figures it out, if he's already sucked into the Kamui dimension. Because I know everyone knows this. I bring it up every time, but this Kakashi's reaction speed is ridiculous. I mean, and the amount of Kamui shots he has available to him because of his, chakra reserves being, exponential now compared to how it was. It's crazy. So I think Kakashi has more opportunities now to finish. Personally, one of the best, if not the best, Kamui feat he has is when he used Kamui to teleport a moving KCM2 Naruto heading straight toward. And not only did he successfully Kamui it away within no time at all, but Obito, who has a Sharingan and a Rinnegan, did not even know. I mean, it's crazy how fast this Kakashi's react comp.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, and that's honestly, if that one's not the best feat, then the best one is whenever he warps a hole in Jubi Madara's True Secret Orb defense in a shorter time than it took for Guy to like leave his feet and then complete an attack. Like you see on panel, he charges, and then Kakashi activates Kamui, and then the hole is warped away, and then Guy. So like in a shorter amount of time than it took Guy to like complete half of his attack. And this is, keep in mind, this is 8th gate Guy, the dude that was moving at light speed or relativistic speeds, at least bending space with his speed. Kakashi's able to activate and complete the Kamui faster than he can move. So like there's a real argument to be made here, depending on what you think Minato's reaction speed is. There's a real argument to be made that Kakashi might be able to complete the Kamui before Minato realizes what's going on. Now, I know it's kind of 50-50, right? But this Kakashi's no joke. Now, but whenever you look at the scaling as well, like there's more that goes into this than just the Kamui, of course. But it's definitely a really big point of contention that's super important for this matchup, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And depending on like how close Kakashi, so it's pretty much implied that the closer you are to somebody, the faster Kamui is going to be. Now I know that Obito had him like literally like a half an inch away from him the first time around, and Minato was still able to get away. But for one thing, that was a little bit a little less experienced Obito than this would be for Kakashi with Kamui. And he did say that next time I'll do it faster. I'll try to suck him in faster.
Yeah, meaning
that Obito wasn't going at full speed. So if we're assuming that these like the gloves are off in this fight, and they're at least fighting with the intent of ending the fight quickly, then, I mean, I would assume that Kakashi had the same mindset he was in the war, just using Kamui as fast as he possibly could. I mean, heck, I know that he had chakra, the Kuroma's chakra, like, added onto this when it happened, but still, Kakashi would be able to suck in the entire 8-tail before anybody could even notice. So, like, I'm just saying, that's crazy.
Even before getting any of Naruto's chakra, trying to snipe off the Ghetto Mazo's head, which is like sort of like a at least as big as like a half-body Susanoo, maybe like up to the size of like one of the smaller Bijou. Massive head. And the only reason why it didn't work is because Obito canceled it.
Yeah.
And the actual, like if you look at the, there are a couple data book statements about Kamui, but there's one that describes both of them. And if you look at it, it says that it can, in proportion to the chakra that the user puts into it, it can change like the speed and the size of the thing that they're trying to warp. So that sort of backs up the idea that Obito was able to do Kamui faster if he wanted to. And that's a version of Obito that should be weaker than the Warwick version of Obito that like Kakashi was contending with in terms of their Kamui speed. And then, you know, later on in the war, his Kamui speed's probably faster than Obito's, to be honest with you. So it's, the Kamui's no joke. It's definitely a point of, it'll be a problem for Minato.
Now,
either way.
Now, I'm not going on the side of like a complete, because we've been talking about Kakashi a good bit. So as far as Minato goes, this is really all contending on if Minato has no knowledge of how, like, of Kamui yet, because he hasn't been exposed to Kamui yet. But if he did, like, if we're just going on the hypothetical, if he did have knowledge of Kamui, it'd be really tough to catch Minato. So, like, I'm not giving it 100% to Kakashi because of Kamui in general. I'm just saying that Minato's lack of how Kamui works right now is going to play a big factor because of how fast Kakashi is with Kamui. But, like we said earlier, like, Minato is able to get a mark on just about everyone he fights. So I don't see this Kakashi being the exception, especially since he doesn't have what he'll have next year, which is going to be a lot more accessible, a lot more useful to him in fights like this. Omnidirectional light purple lightning that he emits from his body that looks similar to how Sasuke as a defense.
Yeah.
So, like, this, like, again, if he's able to even get close to Kakashi, close enough to mark him, I mean, I'm not saying it's a stomp or a GG or anything, because I think Kakashi can still handle himself, but his odds are going to be cut significantly because So
yeah, for sure. Well, and this also, if you accept that game cutscene as canon, which Kishimoto did say that all the cutscenes are canon, so like I accept it as canon. Kakashi again should have a tag on him. So like it's not even like Minato would necessarily need to place a tag on him, because he would already have it there. But even if he needs to place a tag on him, because he backpockets kunai, tosses them around, and then like can just teleport around the battlefield, I do think there's a very strong possibility that he does get a tag on him.
Yeah, and like I said, like I mean, there's a really good chance that if Minato decides to like teleport to any of the markers, if Kakashi's quick enough to pick up like which one he's going to teleport to, there's a really good chance he could just Kamui Minato right as he's to the marker, or as soon as he gets to the marker. So I'm not gonna like be pedantic about it too much and go into too much detail about it, because I think we kind of made our points about it. But in conclusion, I think for me personally, as much as I've talked about this, because you can ask Sage, I was at 50-50 for a good minute when we were talking about it before we were recording.
Yeah.
But if I had to give it to somebody, I would probably give it to Minato, like a lucky 6 out of 10, because I think Minato has better luck, and so to speak, as far as landing the finishing blow on Kakashi, than Kakashi has better landing the killing blow. It's a close fight. Sage and I kind of are back and forth on Sage.
No, I actually lean the other way. I lean, probably 6 out of 10 for Kakashi, just because, again, like Minato doesn't know about the Kamui, so I do think it's more likely than not that Kakashi's able to land it before Minato's able to do anything about it. And then like their physical scaling in the war is pretty similar, like in terms of like a base Hokage, reanimated Minato, and then Warwick Kakashi. We see them moving on panels similarly. We see them fighting side by side against Black Zetsu possessing Obito's body. So like for me, I think that the story kind of narratively implies that they're closer in terms of like Hokage Minato to Warwick Kakashi, but because of that wild card of his teleportation, he can fight way above his weight class. So it's like, it's tough. I just think the edge goes to Kamui for me, but definitely let us know what you guys think, because I know that Lightning and I, neither of us are really super sure about it, to be honest, so for sure.
Yeah, so now we're going to go on to Hokage Kakashi versus Hokage Minato. This one, I love talking about Hokage Kakashi. This is actually my favorite version of Kakashi. So for one thing I'll get out of the way, for people who are like this, because we have people in our subscribers who are like this. If you do not consider the novels canon, then this section isn't for you. You can just go ahead and skip on to the next round. But for those of you who do, this is it, because like we consider the novels canon, so this is what we're using from the Kakashi novels. So this Kakashi
do you know who else considers the novels canon?
Kishimoto.
and Shueisha, the publisher that co-owns the rights to the Naruto IP, and like published it together. And then if you look at page 24, chapter 700, there's a promotional page that Kishimoto okayed because he wrote the manga, and it's promoting the New Era project, including Kakashi Hiden and the New Era project. I'm sure that Lightning, you'll put it on your screen, but it's like all the novels and everything that happened between 699 and 700. So they're almost undoubtedly canon, but for those that don't accept them and you're a Kishimoto purist, I respect you and it's okay. But anyways, go. I just had to throw it out there.
No, you're good. Yeah, we respect everyone's opinion. That's why I was thinking, if you don't consider it canon, you could just go ahead and skip it. But if you do, then this is the section you can watch. So Kakashi is a monster in as Hokage. It's actually kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie to you. I talked about this before, so I'm not gonna go into it too much. But so he just has so much versatility in this match, or in any match really. He has the purple lightning that can be used several different ways. Close range, like how it looks like the lightning blade. Long range, kind of like the lightning fang. And again, from his own body as a defense move. Even like the way the book describes it, the way he launches Kirin, it almost sounds similar to Kirin, like the destructive power and the way it looked. And Onoki was crapping his pants at the mere sight of it. So, and this is the Onoki who fought, or seen Minato fight, for a little war. And he's got like, the fire style water mist jutsu that honestly just sounds like a summoning jutsu on its own. Like, because he can launch it within seconds, for one thing. And two, it could just remain on the battlefield and shoot individual attacks, like, on its own. And it's strong enough to overpower a Sage of the Six Paths, a water style ninja tool, no less. That's elemental disadvantage, and was able to flood an entire country, if I'm not mistaken, or an entire village or something like that. So
their entire country. The princess says like she doesn't want to use it because she's afraid it would wipe out the entire country.
So this jutsu is no joke. So on just the purple lightning and the fire style water mist jutsu alone gives Minato so much trouble to deal with. Like, at least, at the very least, it'll give Minato trouble closing the distance to get the blow on Kakashi. Even if he still has a mark on him, Kakashi can use the purple lightning from his body to just blitz Minato if he decides to try to blitz Kakashi. I mean, someone like, honestly, I remember someone making a comment on one of my videos beforehand, because they said that, like, okay, by that logic, then should Kakashi outright beat Tobirama because he can use purple lightning? I'm like, y'all need to get this clear. Like, I'm not saying it outright beats him. I'm saying it's useful when combating the Flying Thunder God. Like Minato's surefire jutsu is now not so well used because of that. Like, that's all I'm trying to say, is that purple lightning makes the Flying Raijin a whole lot less useful in terms of getting the actual blow on Kakashi.
Yeah. Well, and whoever commented that, I want to talk to you personally right now. I love you. But yeah, Hokage Kakashi dog walks Tobirama, and it's not close. I will say, I catch a lot of flack for this. This is a safe space, though. Me and Lightning are both Hokage Kakashi fans. We know our stuff on it. Trust us. He referred to the version of the fire style water mist jutsu that sort of acts like a defensive sentry drone that like blocks all these attacks and everything from the Suigu, which uses Six Paths chakra. So like there's that application, but then there's also the one that he can just expel from his hand as projectile, and then there's also the one that can shoot fire from its mouth. Like, it's crazy. Like, this thing is busted. But then again, like Lightning was talking about, he does have an automatic counter to the FTG with the omnidirectional Shinden. Like, at very least, it should shock Minato and stun him for a second. So there's just really not a lot that Minato can do. And then even on top of all that, I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, well, he doesn't have a Sharingan anymore. He should have, slower reaction speed. He shouldn't be as powerful at this point in time.
No. There's
a statement, it was just blatantly wrong. There's a statement in Kakashi Retsuden that says that his chakra has increased by orders of magnitude, meaning at least 2 orders of magnitude, because it's plural. And 2 orders of magnitude is 100 times. So he has 100 times more chakra now than what he had when he was fighting Obito and Madara. And then we get to see in the Boruto anime, which is canon, by the way, he's able to swap hands with Kashi and Koji. And the scaling for Kashi and Koji is super simple. You can scale him to either 10% Jigen or Delta based on his showings. And both of them should scale comfortably to like at least a base Hokage Naruto, maybe even higher. Base Hokage Naruto was reacting to and blocking attacks from Fused Momoshiki, who's a Kaguya level threat, who's above Jubi Dara, who's above Jubito, who's above KCM Minato. So like the scaling for his speed and his overall output and everything is super consistent, and it's just, I love Minato, but like the power creep in Boruto is crazy. So he just has no chance here, in my opinion. I know, like, you know, we're going to be a little bit more conservative because he is, you know, we do know that they know each other and how they fight and everything, and the FTG is a problem, but I just don't see a way that he pulls out a win here, to be completely honest with you.
Well, and just to get a bit of a more safer feed, believing this, like so Kakashi goes toe to toe with someone who made sport of a 50% Raikage in terms of speed. So, which is implying that she could have at least taken the Raikage in full strength, which means that this Kakashi who no-diffed that person should do the same. So, if not better. So that kind of just puts like Kakashi's speed and strength relative at the very least again. And so that's not even counting his reaction time either. So his reaction time should be even better than that. And with the Purple Lightning being able to use it as a defense, I think Kakashi just has so much versatility going for him. And his strength, his chakra being increased, his durability being increased. Yeah, and I will say though, like if Minato uses Sage Mode, then I think he could land a pretty good hit on Kakashi. If it's like a full power Sage Mode or Sengon and he lands it on Kakashi's gonna be feeling it. But his durability is, you know, better than what it was. Plus, now this Kakashi has some pretty top-notch medical ninjutsu as well. So, again, so much versatility going for him. And I would honestly, I think this Kakashi takes it like 7 to 8, 7 to 8 out of 10. I'm not going to go with 9. I'm comfortable with 7 to 8 out of 10.
Well, just to support what you just said too, like we know that there's a page in the first stat book that talks about ninja techniques, and it says that like chakra can be used to temper your body, so like increase your durability. So if you have more chakra, it is possible that your durability can increase, and we actually see this with Sage Mode as well. And like Sage Mode Minato has crazy durability. He gets kicked in the chest by Jubi Madara and takes no damage. But then again, War Art Kakashi, who has severely, like drastically increased in durability over time, War Art Kakashi at that point in time was able to tank attacks, like direct blows from partially transformed and fully transformed Bijou. So he's super durable as well. So like, I don't think like a base Rasengan's going to do it. I do think maybe like Lightning was talking about, that a Sage Mode Rasengan could do some damage. But yeah, it's a tough matchup for me to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a little bit crazier. I'm going to go 9 out of 10 with the 1 out of 10 win going to Minato for like potentially like I don't want to kill my sensei mental nerf. So I know that's a hot take, but I'm going to stick with it.
I can agree with that too. So now we're going to the final round. The most craziest is DMS Kakashi versus Edo Minato. You can ask Sage. We were kind of head scratching for a minute on who would take it, but I think we got a good handle on it. So obviously, I don't need to go over the abilities. I think y'all should already know, but I don't know. Minato's got his hands full, but so does Kakashi. And Kakashi, I don't know. I would honestly, at first I was like leaning more towards Minato, because Minato's speed should be amped, which was already he's already the fastest shinobi in the world, you know, pre-Naruto. But now that this Minato is amped, his speed is amped now. I mean, it's crazy to even think about it. But at the same time, this Kakashi, who was already keeping up, at least on, you know, as far as reaction time with KCM2 Naruto, now that he has an extra Sharingan, his speed should be doubled, on top of having 6-path power, which he does say enhances someone's visual prowess. And I can only assume that also includes visual perception. So, yeah, I don't see Kakashi having much trouble keeping up with Minato's attack.
Yeah, and if you want to take that a step further, again, and I know like this speed scaling can feel a bit tedious, but essentially, Kakashi in DMS was able to blitz Kaguya right after Black Zetsu says that her strength and speed have increased exponentially. So like this Kaguya that he blitzed is exponentially stronger and faster than the one that was like going toe-to-toe with 6-path Sage Mode Naruto and Rinnegan Sasuke at the same time.
Yeah, so
6-path Sage Mode Naruto I mean, he's faster than like Jubi Madara, who's faster than Jubito, who's like faster than KCM Minato. So like the speed scaling there is pretty consistent as well. So there's a real possibility that Kakashi could just blitz him with a Kamui Raikiri also. Like it's weird, but it's just how that sort of stacks up.
Now the thing is, like, I do think that Minato gets the win, because we and Sage kind of agreed that the max time that we can give Kakashi is about 5 minutes. So if Minato's able to outlast Kakashi and run the clock out until then I think he wins. But as far as actually landing a blow on Kakashi, even if Minato's able to close a distance and quote unquote hit Kakashi should still be fast enough to react enough to phase through an attack. So, I mean, I can't see Minato really being able to kill Kakashi in that time. But if he's able to run the clock out, like if Kakashi's not able to Kamui Minato before then I think Minato wins. And if we're talking about the avatars, each respective avatars, I mean, yeah, like the Kurama avatar is a big problem, like literally a huge problem. But that just leaves a bigger target for Kakashi to use the Kamui Shuriken. At the very least, start chipping away bits and pieces of Kurama's avatar. So yeah, Minato can still teleport, but I mean, Kakashi can still phase. You can't like hit Kakashi. I feel like it's almost impossible. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like
he's got that passive Kamui that Obito had. So he would just automatically phase unless he's intentionally like making himself tangible. Mm-hmm. He has the passive Kamui that Obito had. So I do think, yeah. So for me, I lean towards Kakashi in this. I think that just because he's like a few speed blitz tiers above him, he should just be able to like a Kamui Raikiri off rip. But we do know that Minato is an excellent sensor shinobi, so he might sense like that this is a foreign chakra in him and that there's a time limit on it, like it's dwindling down quickly. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, he could just teleport like a country away and then allow for Kakashi's Kamui to just, or his DMS to just trickle down, and then he teleports back and it's over. So yeah.
Just like
I lean Kakashi, but there are some. Yeah. Go.
Well, just like for those of you who think we're giving Kakashi too much credit as far as like reaction speed and time, like, just think about how Obito was handled. Kakashi, Guy, KCM, Naruto, and Killer Bee, some of the four of the fastest shinobi in Shinobi world, and like none of them could hit him for like the longest time. It took Kakashi to be able to actually land a clean blow on him. Now that was only a one Sharingan. This is a Kakashi who has that same Sharingan and then some. So yeah, I would probably give this one to Kakashi also. Probably, if I'm going to be more generous to Minato, because if he can run the clock out, which I do think it's possible, then I think Kakashi takes this one about 7 to 8, maybe 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think I'm like more on the 8 to 9 out of 10 times, simply because I do think that there's like a 1 to 2 in 10 chance that Minato senses that chakra, and that he can just run away and come back, and that power up will be gone. Mm-hmm. But I just think more times than not, Kakashi blitzes him off rip. And like in character, that's pretty much exactly what he would do. So, I think he has way more win conditions with using the basic Kamui to snipe him at double the speed that he had before, or just the Kamui Raikiri or the Kamui Shuriken. All of those should outclass him in terms of speed. But again, there is that chance that Minato is like, you know what, I'm gonna dip out and then come back whenever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So there y'all have it, guys. That's the Kakashi versus Minato video. I was really excited to do this one. Sage, thank you so much for being on the channel.
Dude, no problem at all. It's always so much fun. I know I'm going to have you on my channel again here pretty soon. But again, if you guys have not subbed to him and let all your friends know. He's always putting out great content. So thank you for having me, bro. It's always a pleasure.
No problem, y'all. Guys, he just hit 1,000 subscribers. So why not just go ahead and be added to that number? Please go ahead and go to subscribe to his channel, like his videos, make some great content too. Post every week. We're going to be, cooking up some stuff here in a minute. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a great day. Until my next one, Like Snow, out.